Welcome back to Mr. 96's Pop Reviews. My name is Mr. 96. I can't believe it's already been 5 years since I started making videos. I was originally planning to do something huge to celebrate this occasion, but real life got in the way. With the entire pandemic situation, I thought that would give me more time to produce content, but honestly, it's just made me even more stressed than when I was in grad school. Hey, what did you think of that new Beyonce remix of Savage? It's fine, it's good. But how about that Tootsie Slide song? It sure sucks, doesn't it? Yes, but you knew that already. You see what I'm trying to say here? It's hard to make a lengthy song review if the music itself doesn't give me much to comment on, regardless of whether it's good or bad. It was easier when the world wasn't falling apart to find the motivation to talk about dumb pop songs, but anything I have to say now seems very unimportant in the grand scheme of things. I mean, the last time I put all my heart and effort into a video, I made a longer than average review that nobody watched. So honestly, I've made more use of my time completing side quests in Xenoblade Chronicles. But after many months of complete apathy on my part, I have finally found the drive to talk about pop music, because for the first time in 5 years, I get to review a song by Nicki Minaj.
Hey yo, I been on, bitch you been con.
Yeah, I'm shocked as well that I haven't reviewed a song of hers in a proper episode yet. I mean, of course I've talked about her in my top 10 list as well as through references and other videos, but I honestly had to double check to make sure that yes, her name has yet to appear in any of my video titles. My thoughts on Nicki Minaj have constantly evolved throughout the years. On one hand, I can recognize that she has legitimate talent as an MC, so her being popular for the last decade plus should not be a surprise. On the other hand, she has also made plenty of music throughout the 2010s that I have either not cared for or vehemently disliked. One fundamental aspect of Nicki's music is her claim of being the greatest female rapper of all time, but whether you believe that or not, it's a pretty dicey topic to talk about. Hip-hop is one of those odd genres where talking about the GOAT in any category is different than talking about the GOAT in any other medium. For example, Wayne Gretzky is the undisputed GOAT of hockey since he was just so astronomically ahead of everybody else in both skill and influence. But in hip-hop, talking about the best rapper is such a loaded question that I've never even tried to answer. Are we talking about their lyrical abilities behind the mic, the accolades they won, who influenced hip-hop culture as a whole? I have no idea because no one judges things on the same scale. Unlike the NBA, where most of the arguments just come from the fans of Jordan and LeBron, hip-hop is even more chaotic where the arguments are spearheaded by the artists themselves.
You a stupid how? You a stupid how?
Nicki is not a stranger to feuds and controversies with others, sometimes due to others calling her out and other times due to her calling them out. But regardless, one thing that's very clear is that Nicki is very protective of her status and legacy, which she has a right to be, and with her desire to have a #1 hit, she finally accomplished that this year on the remix of Say So by Doja Cat. Also, there's a song she made with 6ix9ine, but let's save that for another day. And yes, I'm aware that I'm extremely late to this and that everyone's already moved on to that new WAP song, but if I'm being honest, I have much more to say about Doja Cat's song than that one. Speaking of which, let's talk about Doja Cat.
Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I'm not a cat. I don't say meow.
I'm just gonna be completely honest, I don't get it. With most people, I can understand their appeal from a musical perspective, even if it's not for me, but here, I just don't get the hype. To compare, take Megan Thee Stallion for example. I just heard one song from her and I immediately got it. One listen told me she was going to be a star. But with Doja Cat, she's just another artist with a big pop hit. And speaking of her big hit, let's actually get into that. It has this nice, luscious 70s funk sound that makes it perfect for pop radio. A lot of the appeal of this song comes from its production, which, trust me, we'll address that later. Anyways, Nicki is the bigger personality here, so let's see how she handles her first verse.
You wanna say so. Every time I take a break, the game be so boring.
Okay, that was a wild shift in tone. Considering how the music sounded nothing like the chorus, I guess it's one of those remixes.
Boy, like the Rams, see now that's Gordon.
Well, the Rams actually missed the playoffs last year, so I wouldn't say that's 100% accurate.
They don't understand the back talk, I'm foreign. When they think they top the queen, they start falling.
Translation: I use underhanded tactics to boost my sales, and any female rapper who thinks they're better is a dumbass bitch. Okay, that's also not 100% accurate, but the sentiment is still there.
Tell Mike Jordan, send me my retros. Used to be bite, but now I'm I'm just hetero.
Okay, now that line is a bit more questionable. For those not aware, Nicki claimed many years ago that she was bi, but has now come out by saying that she's actually straight. To be fair, LGBTQ+ fans are pretty divided on that line. Is she genuinely someone who explored her sexuality and came to this conclusion later? Or was that all a scummy marketing tactic in the past to appeal to non-hetero women yet still be about the D? Honestly, I have no idea, and frankly, I don't really care. Whether she's bi or straight has no impact on me, but the way that line is presented in the context of the song comes off as a bit dismissive and condescending, which does leave an odd taste in my mouth. But surely that's not a deal breaker, right? I mean, just listen to this chorus. It's just so relaxing and divine. Surely such a lovely piece of art must have been produced by a highly reputable individual. Oh. Yeah, I think it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. As you probably know, this hit song was the big comeback for Dr. Luke.
Kesha files a civil suit against Dr. Luke in California.
For those of you who don't follow pop music, Dr. Luke is an infamous producer who's alleged to have committed multiple instances of emotional and sexual abuse to Kesha. This series of lawsuits and countersuits dates back to many years ago, and the courts have consistently dismissed Kesha's claims and refused to terminate her contract with RCA Records. Of course, this created major controversy, not helped by the fact that the initial judge in charge had a personal connection to Kesha's label, but most artists within the industry have sided with Kesha and cut their ties with Dr. Luke. With all that in mind, many people have felt conflicted about whether it's right to support Doja's song while also helping Dr. Luke. The topic of separating the art from the artist has always been an ongoing debate, and I don't exactly have a clear solution to that. On the one hand, I do believe it's possible for bad people to create good art, yet at the same time, I don't exactly want to support those people if I don't have to. Normally this would be an awkward decision, but after thinking about this for months, the decision has been made easier for me since I've come to realize that the song just plain sucks. No, I'm not just saying that because of Dr. Luke's involvement. I'm serious when I say that I find this song as a whole to be just utterly unimpressive. And that includes Doja Cat's contribution. Not the first time she's associated herself with terrible people, but that's neither here nor there. But you know what? I've mostly been talking about Nicki and Dr. Luke. Let's give some proper attention to the main artist. If I'm being honest, I find her singing in the chorus actually kind of annoying. She sings with this cooey and ditzy voice that I find to be completely insincere, and I'd argue that this nice instrumental in the background actually works against her. To explain what I mean, let's compare this to a relatively recent hit with a similar funk sound. The first song I thought of was Calvin Harris's Feels, but what makes that song work is that everyone involved fits with the groove. Pharrell sings with this relaxed tone that complements Calvin Harris's instrumental. People in hip-hop often talk about how an MC must flow with the music, but in Say So, Doja Cat just sounds like she's rapping over the music rather than with it.
Let me check my chest, my breath right quick. He ain't never seen it in a dress like this.
It just feels like Dr. Luke made some cool instrumental and the studio needed to find someone to rap over it rather than build the song around the artist's strengths. Personally, I find her part to be disconnected from the music's intent. Speaking of disconnected, Nicki's part definitely sounds forced and unnatural.
Yes, I'm ghetto, word to Geppetto.
Questionable lyric aside, Nicki's part doesn't match up with the rest of the song, musically or lyrically. The song is about convincing a guy to admit his admiration, so Nicki's flexing just seems out of place. To make another feels comparison, let's talk about Big Sean's rap verse.
Goddamn, I know you love to make an entrance.
In that song, the beat also changes with the switch up, but the difference is that it still retains some of the groove from the original beat, which allows this shift in style to sound refreshing yet not jarring. With Nicki's part, the music sounds almost entirely different with this overbearing bass drum that turns this 70s inspired tune into some bass dominant hip hop beat from a completely different song. I haven't been this thrown off since Nicki was on the Boot Up remix with Quavo.
It just won't stop, it goes.
Let you in my life get a sneak peek.
For those of you unaware of its existence, you were the lucky ones, and I have now ruined that for you. With all of these disparate parts, the remix comes off like an awkward combination that leaves you unsatisfied. Nicki has the energy but feels disconnected from the song, and Doja just feels secondary to the entire project. Dr. Luke or not, Say So doesn't feel necessary to justify. It's not the worst song in the world, but it's definitely one I won't return to once the year is done.
Then you looking silly, that's what the silicone.
Once again, I'm Mr. 96. If you want to see more pop reviews, click the subscribe button below and tap that bell to be notified when I drop a new episode. Considering the long layoff recently, this will probably be my last pop review proper for 2020. I've got the best of 2000 in October, the corrections video in November, and the year-end list in December. Anyways, thank you for 5 years of pop reviews, as there's still more to come. Pop songs may come in numbers, but there's only one 96.
너의 그 말 그 잔인한 말 가슴 아파